Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Today, I am so excited to welcome to the show Zack Boothe. Just a few years ago, Zack was a window cleaner. You can even find his window cleaning tutorial videos on YouTube with millions of views. However, Zack always dreamt of being a real estate investor. Taking a leap of faith, he walked away from window cleaning, and within a handful of years, he was making over $1 million per year from real estate investing. With his successful business, he now spends his time helping others see how simple it is to make money with real estate. Zack is here today to share his insider secrets to finding massively discounted properties, regardless of your experience level. Hey there, Zack, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're able to make it. He told me just before he got online, ladies, that he wasn't feeling very well yesterday. So he's home today. So kind of forgive the echo. He doesn't have his mic, but I thought this conversation was so interesting. I didn't want to put it off. So we're going to go ahead and go for it. Zack, I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the patience, everyone. If my kids yell or scream, I'm just here home. I've got two little ones and a busy house. So
yeah. Awesome. So Zack, tell us a little bit more about your story, like the high level 2-minute version.
Yeah, 2-minute version. Like you said, I was a window cleaner and it was good. I was providing for my family, but it wasn't quite enough. It was really a struggle and I wanted something different. I wanted to be able to provide a better life for my family. And the day my son was born, I couldn't help but just be overwhelmed and stressed about how I was going to pay the medical bills. And that really pushed me to want to get into real estate investing. And, I did my first investment deal back in 2012. I bought a rental and the amount of money I was making off that rental, it was a pre-foreclosure. And, my wife and I got dirty and cleaned it up ourselves and rented one side and lived in the other. And we had that experience and we got the bug. We wanted more. We wanted to do more deals. We just had so many roadblocks after that, though. Debt to income ratios, getting loans, being self-employed, especially because I wasn't making a lot of money as a window cleaner. And, I found out about real estate wholesaling. I got a mentor and it's really changed my life. Now I'm making 6 figures a month from this business. And I have a team that does it for me. I do it in 2 different markets. I coach other people to do this, which is really my passion and what I love doing. I create content. I have a podcast and a YouTube channel around it. I love it. And so, that's the 2-minute version of, kind of my journey and where I'm at.
Nice. Zack, how much time per week would you say that you spend on your business?
Coaching business, a lot.
Yes.
That's where I spend all my time, really. I spend, if it's a work week and I put I work all week, 6-7 days a week, it's all day, every day. But as far as the wholesaling business, the investment business, I maybe spend 4 hours a week.
Okay.
I've been picking up about one property that I'm keeping for myself. I consider that my holding company. So I'm spending a couple hours a week on that business as well. But just the wholesaling business that's generating the majority of my money, I spend very, very little time at this point. I look at what I do and people might be like, that's not true. So it is true, but where I spend my time is every Monday, I have a team meeting. I sit in on the Monday meeting. And then on Wednesdays, we do KPI reviews. So what that is I sit down with, my 2 main people in my company, my marketing director and my lead acquisition manager. And we sit down and look at our numbers and what our business did and where we're at. And then, and then another thing, like this Friday, I'm going to lunch with a potential financial private money lender. So those are the kinds of things that I do. I meet with high level people. I interview someone that's going to be a project manager for a flip or whatever that might be, but I don't really spend much time in the business.
Got it. How long did it take you to get to this point where you're only working about 4 hours a week or six
I went,
hours a week?
yeah, I went full time, quit window cleaning, went full time into real estate investing in the very beginning of 2017.
Okay.
So not very long. I haven't, let's see, about 2 years ago, I really transitioned out of the day to day. So it took me about 2 years to build the company.
Okay.
We were at about so first year we did like 118,000 in income. Second year I did just shy of $500,000. The next year we did 1.2 million. And that's when I walked away from the business and put other people in place. And the cool thing is I cut a lot of expenses, but also cut revenue and had some hiccups doing that. So the next year we only did 700,000, but my profit margins were better. This year, so far it's May, we're at 700,000 already. So we're fully expecting to have our best year ever because I just increased our ad spend by 25%. So we should end the year between 1.5 and 2 million in sales with like a 40% profit margin.
Love that. And then when you were doing, this is the thing, and ladies, this is why I'm having this conversation. I'm realizing that the thing that's most important, that like the conversation that I'm most interested in, and I know so many of you ladies are interested in, is yeah, so you're really successful and this is what you're doing right now, but how did you get here?
Yep.
Right? I talk about I only work 5 to 10 hours a month and people are like, but was it always this way? Well, no. There's a ramp up time when you start your business. What is it that you're doing to make that happen? Now, for me, I've kind of always worked those hours, but I had my business was a side hustle. I wasn't really paying attention to it, right? And I'll admit openly that I probably would have reached wealthy much faster if I had paid more attention, right? But I love this conversation with other really successful real estate entrepreneurs to kind of find out what the ramp up look like and kind of where they're at, right? So that's why I wanted to ask these questions, Zach. But one of the pieces that I wanted to ask you is those first 3 years, how much time do you feel like you were spending in that business? Was it sort of part-time, partial time, more than part-time? Kind of what did that look like?
Overtime hours.
Okay.
I worked and I still work. I still work more hours than most people, but I believe that I believe that this life is not made for sipping pina coladas on a beach.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I believe that we find fulfillment in life by challenging ourselves and growing.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started finding success in real estate, I happened upon coaching. It wasn't even planned. And I started finding fulfillment helping other people find success, right? Because
Right.
my mentor said something that stuck with me. He said, when you win in the game of money, there's no joy in running up the score.
It's so true. Yep.
You definitely people say all the time, like wealthy people, even oh, money's not important. And it's like someone hears that and they go, yeah, because you already have money. But they're both right? There's a certain amount of money that is very important. You've got to provide for your family. You've got to eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there is a certain level of money. Once you hit that, more doesn't equal like that same a level of comfort and like peace, right?
Yes.
And so I started having like a massive amount of financial success after hustling for like 2 years, and I wanted something different. But I'm going on a tangent here. To answer your question, I worked very hard in my wholesaling business in those first two years. I walked away from my window cleaning business. I had 2 months till I was not going to be able to pay the mortgage. I hadn't done a wholesale deal. I hired a mentor and I was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I know it's a little crazy for most people. I had to put my coaching fees on a credit card and a lot of my marketing on a credit card, and I was going to make it happen. So, I was working until 10, 11 o'clock every single night, 7 days a week until I did my first deal. Mm-hmm. And I did my first deal when it was 10 grand and it was absolutely amazing. And then my biggest deal that first 8 months was 30 grand. And, that was the 100 grand that I made in that first year, really first 8 months of wholesaling. And I kept working my butt off. My mentor also said something that really stuck with me. He said, hustle, hustle is a season, not a way of life.
Yes, that is true too.
Right. And so I really feel like I really hustled and worked really hard, but then I got to the point where I started working a little more strategic to build out the team. But to get to that level of success, you have to start somewhere, like you said, right? You have to start somewhere. And where do you start? Well, your goal is to get your first deal, right? And then your second deal, and then your third deal, and then it evolves from there. So don't overcomplicate it. Like don't look at someone that's had levels of success and has a team and says, I only work 5 hours a week. And it's like, how's that possible? Well, they work their butts off in the beginning, right?
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah. And I really like how you talked about, so this show is really a lot about bliss. And so, what do we believe bliss is for us? I think you and I have a little bit of a different point of view, but I love that each of us has how we define bliss. And then that's what we work for in our life. And that's what gives us fulfillment, right? So that's awesome. So thank you for sharing all of that stuff. Could you tell us the mistake that you see beginners make in real estate investing? The biggest mistake, the most common one.
I think the biggest mistake that people make is they try and figure it out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Like they listen to a podcast, they listen, and then they watch a YouTube video, and then they watch another podcast, and they take some action steps, but it's really unorganized. It's not like clear, like they don't know exactly if it's going to work, right? They go and when they're doing those action steps, they're not super confident in them. So one of the guys that I follow that I love, Tony Robbins, he talks about the cycle of success that people have.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to tap into our full potential as people, we have to have a massive belief in whatever we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start wanting to do a wholesale deal, and we watch a YouTube video and we're like, well, they said to go buy a list from PropStream and to send postcards. I don't know, I'm going to try that. And so you go do it, and you're not really sure if it's going to work. You're not going to give a massive amount of effort. For example, you're not going to go drop $7,000 on postcards, right? Because you don't have a massive belief. But if you know for a fact that if you spent $5,000 to $7,000 on postcards, you're going to make 30, would you do it? Yes, because you have a massive belief in it. So what happens is if you have a belief, you'll give massive action. If you give massive action, you'll have massive results, and you're just going to build your confidence. And you're going to do another deal and another deal, and you're going to grow, and you're going to do more deals, and you're going to add more marketing strategies or whatever that might be. But the problem is people don't go at it with confidence because they're going at it alone, right? They're trying to figure it out from just a podcast. Like, I think that's why it was so important to get a mentor. That's why I got a mentor in the beginning. I would not be successful without my mentor. Tom Kroll was my mentor. He doesn't coach anymore. I love him to death. Like, he changed my life, got me out of window cleaning, and got me into this business.
What was his name?
Tom Kroll.
Oh, Tom Kroll. Okay, great.
Yeah. So he's out of Florida, but he gave me the action steps, right? And there was no confusion of like, what do I do next? If I do this, will it perform? Right? He said, Zach, go do this, this, and this. So I went and did it. I'm like, done. Now what? And he said, do this, this, and I went and did it. And I did it in mass. And I took very uncomfortable steps, but he told me to do them. And I knew that he was successful. So if I just did what he did, I'd be successful. That's how I had success. So if like, I feel like that's the number one issue. People like put like just their toe in instead of jumping in. But the problem is they don't go get a mentor. That's jumping in. It's like getting a mentor that gives them the step-by-step action steps so they can just implement them and do them. But I also believe there's really bad mentors.
I do too. Yes. Thank you for addressing that. Thank you.
There's really bad mentors. So I'm not just saying just go pay anybody, but yes, I believe getting a mentor that's really going to get you there is very important.
How do you pick a mentor? What would you recommend?
Yeah, there's a handful of things that I would suggest. Some people might be hearing this and go, well, you're saying that because you are a mentor. Sure, but I'm not going to coach everyone that wants to coach, right? So Find your mentor, first of all, that you connect with, right? So someone might have already heard some of the things I said and like completely don't like vibe with me, right? First of all, then don't even think about working with me. Find someone that's a mentor that you vibe with, like the type of person that you have, and that also are living the types of lives, have the same core values, same core beliefs, like they're your people. Like they would be your best friend in different circumstances, right? Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I would look at. Second is that they are doing what you're trying to accomplish. Don't hire mentors that only teach, but don't actually do what they say, right? So if you want to get into wholesaling, make sure they also wholesale and coach, not just coach, right? The next thing I would look at is, do they have successful students, right? It's one thing to say, yeah, I know how to do it. It's a whole nother thing. I promise. Coaching and doing wholesaling are two different things. If that coach hasn't been able to help lots of people become successful, and you can't talk to those successful students and like have those successful students say, yes, that person changed my life, right? Just like I talk about Tom Kroll. If their students aren't saying those kinds of things, don't join the program. So that would be my advice, those three things.
Nice. Thank you for that. I do get a lot of people who call me and are like, Moneeka, you talk about getting a mentor. How should I get a mentor? So that's great. Great advice. Thank you for that. What would you say is the best strategy for finding deeply discounted properties? Because that's what you do, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what all of real estate investing is finding discounted properties. Because I was reading a book, it's called Multifamily Millions, but it's talking about doing like giant multifamily deals, $1 million projects. And he said something that really clicked. And this was in the beginning of my real estate journey. He said that real estate investing is marketing and our product is real estate. If you can't get that between your two ears, you won't be in business for long. And then he has a couple sections in there where he talks about how you find discounted properties. So it doesn't matter if you're wholesaling or giant properties, our business is marketing. We have to find discounted properties to do deals, right? There's the cliche saying, you got to buy low to sell high, right? You have to start with a good deal. It doesn't matter if you want to wholesale, buy and hold, flip, syndications, whatever it might be. So one of the things that I do, and everything that I do is branded Driving for Dollars Mastery, or DFD Mastery, right? My website is drivingfordollarsmastery.com. So Driving for Dollars is a strategy that I use to find discounted properties. It's pretty simple. You basically drive around neighborhoods and you find the ugly properties, the ugly multifamily houses, the ugly single family houses. You add it to a list, you find out who owns it, and then you see if they want to sell. It's that simple. Obviously, there's things to be more efficient, to do it on a larger scale and to be able to be very profitable. But I truly believe that is the best way to find off-market discounted properties. I truly believe that it is. There's lots of ways though, right? There's banded signs, there's radio, there's online marketing, there's lots of different things, but I truly believe that is by far the best, most profitable, and fastest way to deals. Zach,
where are you located?
I'm in Utah.
You're in Utah. Okay. So it's a pretty hot market there too, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a hot market everywhere.
It is everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I also do this in Tampa. So I do it in two different markets.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about how you do this in a really hot market. Because basically, I live in San Jose, California. If someone wants to sell, like if you send them a letter and you say, do you want to sell? They're very aware of what their property would be worth if they put it on the market, even if it was like as is. So it's really hard in this area to get, well, from my perception, to get a discounted property, because people can kind of put it on and bids will come in. Everything's going for multiple offers. Things are going for several $100,000 over asking, right? So finding a discounted property is difficult. In my experience. So what would you say to that? What do you recommend?
Yeah. So I think that it's very important to understand that you have to be a deal finder, not necessarily a deal creator. Mm-hmm. So many people think that you have to be this swindler or dishonest or shady to get discounted properties, because everyone knows or everyone understands that it's a hot market and they can get a lot. Mm-hmm. But what you need to understand is some people want convenience over the price. Mm-hmm. So for example, we are, real estate investors, real estate wholesalers, we're pawn shops for houses. That's the best explanation I can give, right? For example, if someone takes a piece of jewelry, right, out of their house and they go, I don't want this piece of jewelry anymore, I want cash. They could list it online. Right? They could list it online, put it on KSL, put it on whatever, or Craigslist, whatever online resources, eBay, and try and get as much as possible. Or you could drive down to the corner store and say, here's my ring, give me cash. right? You're going to make less at the pawn shop, but there's a convenience factor. Pawn shops make money, but there's only a select few people that want to sell stuff at a pawn shop. So there's people that, and you might think, well, that doesn't exist, especially in a hot market. That's not true at all. It's not true because I've made $700,000 in 5 months doing this, right? It works. And the funny thing is I have the same conversation with my neighbor, the same conversation with my cousin that calls me and says, I need to sell my house. Will you buy it? And I say, hey, you might actually make more money listing it with an agent. Why don't you do that? I'm an investor. I can have it done quickly, but, I might not be able to be your best offer. You know what they say? They say, yeah, I'm not really in a hurry. I'll probably just list it and fix it up myself. It's like, okay, best of luck. I can't help you. Right. Or they say, yeah, I don't necessarily care about getting out the money. I don't want to fix it up. I don't want to deal with an agent. I just want to be done. When they say that means it's a deal. They want a pawn shop for a house. So the biggest thing is you put out a net to the ugly houses in your neighborhood and you ask them if they want to sell. And then you have that exact conversation. Well, why don't you just list it? It sounds like it's a decent property. It might just need a little work. Why don't you just fix it up and list it? And if they tell you, no, I don't want to, then it's a deal. Right? I've captured those conversations. They're on my YouTube channel. I straight up say, you will make more money listing it with an agent. Why don't you do that? And they say, I don't care. I want it gone. Right? That's who we're trying to find. So is there very few people that want to sell their houses for speed and convenience? Sure. But that's why it's so important to do marketing and to have a strategy to find off-market discounted properties.
Zack, that was amazing. I've never heard that analogy. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I actually stole that from Tom Kroll as well.
Yeah. We're all benefiting from Tom.
I take credit,
Yeah.
I'm not lying when I say get a mentor. He changed my life, right? And I'm changing other people's lives by helping them. And it's going to snowball. And there's going to be 2 or 3 people that I change their life, and they're going to change more people's lives. And that's fulfillment to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can go to the grave with all this money, it's not going to make a difference. But what will make a difference is this kind of content that we leave behind, right? The YouTube videos, the things that we talked, the people that we helped, right? I will always, always, always have nothing but love and respect for Tom because of the action steps and the things that he did for me and the things that he gave me. I just want to pass that on.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you talk a little bit about having different exit strategies. This is actually a hot topic for me that I talk about quite a lot. Could you talk a little bit about how you decide on your exit strategies to make the most money when you get a property?
So when I first started, everything was wholesaling. I'd find a deal and I'd find a buyer that wanted to buy my contract and close on it, right? Because I didn't have the money. I didn't have the ability to do anything else. I was broke. I didn't have debt to income. I didn't have credit. I didn't have private money investors. I didn't have all those relationships I do now. But now what I do is we put together the deal. I don't sign any of the contracts anymore, but the deals are presented to me, and we'll blast an email out to all of our cash buyers, and we do a full inspection on the property. Our agent goes to the real estate inspection. Our project manager goes to the inspection, and all of our cash buyers. And then we get all of our cash offers in. We take highest and best is what we tell our cash buyers. There's no telling what our offers are, those kinds of things, because I want to just get offers in. I don't want to play the game of, well, tell me where I need to be, and people are waiting to give me offers because they want to be last, all that garbage, right? So then I know, okay, I could assign it. Let's say I can assign a deal for 30 grand. It's like, okay, well, I can assign it for 30 grand, or I can close on it with my own cash and keep it as a rental and refinance myself out, or hard money and refinance myself out. So I evaluate it as a rental. And then I also have my project manager give me the numbers and present the Excel spreadsheet where we'd be if we flipped it, right? That's why I have my agent there, what we could sell it for fixed up, what needs to be done as far as remodel to get it there, and then the bids put together for that. So then I get to choose, do I keep it as a rental? Do I flip it? Do I wholesale it? Or do I just close on it and list it? Right? So I have whatever strategy that I want to approach. We also, during acquisitions portion, we also talking to the seller, see if seller finance or taking over the mortgage is an option, or if cash offer is all they want. So depending on what they get it under contract for, then we'll evaluate the deal from there.
Got it. Okay. Wow, that was awesome. I usually have three exit strategies, so it's nice to see that you got four. And ladies, as you're listening to this is a really, really important thing to keep in mind. So Zack, in the beginning, he had to do it one way, right? But even me, like, I just started in construction. This is the worst time on the planet to be in construction. I
Yeah.
just started, right? But even when I got in, I had three exit strategies planned out. Like it wasn't like I have to build this thing and sell it, or I'm going to die, or I'm going to go bankrupt, or I'm going to lose everything, right? No, even in the beginning for me, if I get stuck with something, I know what I'm going to do with that. And I think when you're starting, even if it's a wholesale thing, you had to make money, right?
Yeah.
But if you did end up getting stuck with a property, you would have a strategy to get out of that, right? And so just think through when you're putting together your strategies, what could plan B be if things go bad? Wouldn't you agree with me on that?
100%. I also believe that, that's the power of wholesaling. It's why wholesaling is so amazing, is there is no risk. There is no really getting stuck with the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why I started with wholesaling, because I saw it as a way to build a rental portfolio. I saw it as a way to build wealth, because not only could I start my marketing and start finding off-market discounted deals. There's step one, right? Good deals. But then I could get cash for them and not have to take any risk. So then as I built up more cash, then I could take that cash and maybe flip one and make a little bit more on the deal than just assigning it. But the thing is, my average assignment deal in Utah is 30 grand. And in Florida, that's 18 grand a deal. My profit margins, like I said, are 40%. Like, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chunk of change. If eventually getting into holding properties or flipping and taking those risks and having those other strategies is great. But there's nothing wrong with starting off at first with just having wholesaling, because if you do it right, you'll have it under contract, and in your contract, you'll have a time frame to inspect the property and to try and find a buyer for your purchase contract, right? If you can't find a buyer within that time, you can cancel that agreement. Of course, you don't put properties under contract you don't think that you can find a buyer for. But yeah, that's the beauty of wholesaling, right? It's a great place to start. There's way less risk than actually taking debt to flip a house.
Got it. Awesome. Well, thank you for all that. So, Zack, tell everybody how they can reach you.
The best place to find me is through my website. It's dfdmastery.com. So DFD stands for Driving for Dollars, dfdmastery.com.
Okay, great. And tell us, I know you don't have a specific gift for people, but tell people, I know that you've got a lot of content that you wanted to share with my audience. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I put out a lot of content. I work really hard to help and to give back with the content I create. So I recently went down to Florida, and the goal was to take $1,000 in a whole new market and turn it into 40 grand in 40 days. So I basically opened up Florida. I've said I do deals in Florida. Well, this is how it all started. So I flew to Florida, and I had 40 days to make 40 grand. And I documented it all and had a film crew there, and shared it for free on my YouTube channel. So you guys can go see what it takes to get started in wholesaling with a very small budget, and to see what kind of work that includes. You see the ups and downs. I share the deals that fall apart. I share the frustrations. I share the exhaustion, because it's every day I share an episode. And so you get to see the entire process for free. But it's totally worth watching. We ended up with 7 contracts. 2 of them fell apart. We closed on the other 5. 2 of them I kept as rentals with like 100,000 in equity in both of them. And then 3 of them I ended up wholesaling. So I just sold the purchase contract, and we made like $93,000 or so, $93,000 on those 3 deals. So since I did everything myself, it's pretty much all profits. So it was a chunk of change. I don't know very many people that could go make 100 grand in a month, and it's not because they're not smart enough or they don't have the work ethic. It's just they don't know how. And so the whole point of that challenge was not to show off or anything, but is to show you guys that you guys can do it. I don't feel like I'm anything special. I was a window cleaner, right? Like I didn't go to college. I didn't come for money. Like I had a really good work ethic, but man, like you should see my spelling. It's bad. Bad. So I'm just saying that like I did that whole challenge to encourage you guys and to show you what's possible. I don't want to like sugarcoat any of it. It's hard. It's a lot of hard work. The process is simple, but it's not easy, right? And so that was the whole point of the challenge, to show what it really took to be a wholesaler and how to get started and what that, that initial hustle looks like.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And so, Zack, that's so generous that you did that. How do people find it on YouTube? What should they be looking for?
Yeah. So if you go to YouTube and just search DFD Mastery. So my YouTube channel is DFD Mastery. Everything I have is branded DFD Mastery, right? So it stands for Driving for Dollars Mastery, DFD Mastery. And you can find my YouTube channel there. There's a ton of awesome content in there. I've been producing three videos a week. And we're going to bump it up to 4 episodes a week. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Awesome. So ladies, go check that out. Yay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries.
So are you ready, Zack, for our 3 rapid fire questions?
I am ready.
Okay. Zack, tell us one super tip on getting started investing in real estate.
Yeah. Like I said a little earlier, get a mentor. Find a mentor.
Awesome. And then what's a strategy for being successful in real estate investing?
Yeah, I believe that the most important thing is getting good at finding off-market discounted properties. If you can get good solid leads of people that want to pawn shop for their house, you will be successful. I really believe that is the core part or portion of investing in general, is good deals.
Perfect. And then what is one daily practice, Zack, that you do that you would say contributes to your personal success?
Yeah. Well, I have a giant list of tasks. There is never a day that I don't have a list that I can't get to, right? A big list. And what I do is I pick what's going to move the needle towards my goals the most, right? So I have a very clear direction, 3-year goal, 1-year goal, and 1-month goal outlined at all times. And so when I'm looking at my tasks and everything that I have to do, I pick what it is and I do it. And I think most people do the opposite. They do what sounds comfortable, like checking their emails, and they skip the uncomfortable stuff like cold calling to get a lead.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I'll even just archive my entire email because I got like 50 emails and it annoys me. I just archive it all. And it's like, if it's important, they'll call me.
I get like 3,000 emails a day.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my gosh. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, my team will call me like, did you get my email? I was like, dude, you know me. No.
You want to talk? Give me a call. Yeah. I'm not that person, but that's an interesting way to handle that,
Yeah. It's like but I really believe that's a huge thing that I do is I attack and it's usually always the uncomfortable things.
Yes.
Like I really believe what's going to move the needle is what makes us uncomfortable. And so that's why most people don't ever move the needle in their lives is they're like, okay, this is my giant task. And so they're like, I'm working really hard. And it's like, but are you? Right? You're not really, because you're busy, but you're not working on the right things. And you're not, you're just lying to yourself to make yourself feel proud of yourself when you really know you're not working on those hard things.
Yeah. Well, I think there is definitely a difference between busy work and productivity.
Yeah.
Very definitively. So Thank you for that. Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you for all you've shared on this portion of the show, Zack.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Yeah. Ladies, thank you for joining Zack and I for this portion of the show. If you are subscribed to Extra, we do have stuff for Extra, but I have to clear something with Zack first because I have a special topic I want to talk to him about, but I need a yes from him. So I'm going to tease you guys this time and not tell you what we're talking about, but do go take a look at realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. You get your first 7 days for free. So check it out, realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. For those of you that are leaving us now, thank you so much for joining Zack and I for this portion of the show. I love having you here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.